I had a question from a friend of Future Media overnight after I put this post on LinkedIn. It explained why we haven't had a decision on breaking up Google's illegal ad tech monopoly yet. And the reason is that basically the judge, Leonie Brinkema, has been super busy. And the Google breakup, and after all, the security of the open web that goes with it, is only one of the cases on her to-do list. But good news. The post clearly said that now she's cleared all the other jobs that she had to do, and now Google is top of the priority list. So back to Miles's question. In the post, I put this chart. It showed the falling revenue flowing from what Google calls network ads. And Miles asked me, "Hey mate, can you explain this diagram to me, please? Google search, I get, but network, what is it?" This felt like time for another Future Media Explains. So here goes. Google has a monopoly in search and an illegal monopoly in ad tech. And we know this from the antitrust trials brought by the US Department of Justice over the past few years. Now, Google reports its revenues in quarterly updates to the American Securities and Exchange Commission, aka the SEC. And Google's $402 billion is reported in chunks. And you can see them here from an actual SEC filing. This is actually for Q1 2026. And what it shows is that Google reports its revenue from search ads in this top line and from YouTube. And then there's another line called network. And that's the one that's most important for publishers and for everyone else that publishes on the open web. Because network is where Google reports all the other money it makes. And within this number is how much advertising it shares with the open web. Now that sounds complicated, so let me explain it. Google has an all-encompassing monopoly and control on ad tech. It's the world's most dominant ad server, called Google Ad Manager, or GAM for short. It runs almost all the world's publishers and creator websites who use it to deliver and measure the ads they run on their sites. But Google also has an ad network called AdX. Think of this as a dam of ads from all of the biggest advertisers in the world. All of them are looking for customers to sell to. And it's massive. Around half of all the world's ad demand, that's advertisers looking for audiences, is transacted through here. And we know from evidence surfaced at the trial that its scale is almost impossible to comprehend. AdX handles 252 trillion ad calls a year. That's 30,000 ads for every man, woman, and child on Earth every year. So let's say Hyundai wants to sell a specific model of its cars to 25 to 35-year-old women who've recently had children and live on the East Coast of the United States. Well, Hyundai goes to Google's ad tech, drops in its requirements, and Google's AdX runs a super fast auction in a fraction of a second to find a website that has the right person, and then the ad is delivered. And Google gets paid 36 cents on the dollar for doing that, and the website gets the rest. This is programmatic advertising at its most basic, but working right, everyone wins. Google gets paid for the tech, the publisher gets paid for the content that attracted the audience, and Hyundai's ad reaches the potential buyer, and in the best scenario, the buyer gets the car that they want and they love in future. Only my chart, the one Miles was asking about, shows this working model has been corrupted by the illegal ad tech monopoly that Brinkema is now considering breaking up. Let's go back to the chart and explain what it shows. We now know that Google controls all the ads looking for customers through AdX. And it controls where they go by twisting and turning the pipes and the taps of GAM. But Google wants all the ads for itself now, because that's how it's going to sustain the double-digit annual growth that Wall Street demands, but also because it needs the cash to fund the colossal investments it's making to stay ahead in the AI race. And that has led it to bend the rules, and this chart is the proof. To keep as many of the ads for itself, Google began by launching AI overviews to replace search. Now, you might remember that it was the Future Media newsletter, this newsletter, that revealed this back in 2023 when it was still just a secret Google patent. Since then, Google's used AI overviews to keep readers on its search pages by answering the questions there. Think of what that does. A person goes to search and asks for the latest headlines from the Wall Street Journal. AI Overviews responds with those headlines as an answer, so the reader doesn't need to go to the Wall Street Journal anymore. It means that Google keeps the reader and serves them ads there and doesn't need to send the reader to the Wall Street Journal, so it doesn't need to send or share its advertising revenue with the Wall Street Journal. That means Google keeps the reader and serves them ads on the search page, and it doesn't need to send the reader to the Wall Street Journal, so it doesn't need to share its ad revenue with them. When Google sends readers to a publisher, it's known in the industry as referral traffic. But since AI overviews, referral traffic to publishers has fallen by as much as 80% in the worst cases. But Google's not even done, because then it also turns the taps and narrows the pipes to send less of its AdX dam of advertising to everyone else on the open web too. And it's not just publishers, it's every website on the open web. And the proof and the impact of both of these together is shown in this network ads chart. Because what it shows is that Google is keeping readers to itself, and it's sharing less of its advertising with the open web. And it's moving the ads that used to go to the open web to the sites that it owns, mainly search and YouTube. Now, the law has a term for this. It's called self-preferencing. And in Google's court cases, this was found to be anti-competitive and illegal. It's a pincer movement that Google's enacting, meaning less readers and less ad revenue that's suffocating the open web and more money for Google. And it's the problem that Judge Brinkema will soon offer her solution for. Will she force Google to sell GAM and AdX? That's what the US Department of Justice wants. Or will she try to get Google to play nice through other remedies and share the money around like it used to? That's what we're all waiting to hear. It's a $300 to $400 billion question. And thank you, Mars, for asking it. Now, look, if any of you have a question, please send them in. You can subscribe to the newsletter with the QR code in the corner here. There's plenty to talk about. And this has been the latest episode of Future Media Explains. I hope it's been helpful, and subscribe for more here. See ya.